Welcome everyone to Gamer Melt. As you can see, yes, this is a talking head video, but between me preparing for the stream last night and then actually doing it today, you can see it's actually still up right there. I simply don't have time to do a normal video. With that said, with all of these launches slowing down, I should be able to get back to more of a normal schedule soon. Regardless, there is a ton of news that I want to cover, starting with that terrible custom RX 6000 launch, mobile RTX 3000 cards, best Black Friday deals on PC hardware, first third-party RTX 3060 Ti benchmark. The 3060 Ti beats the 6900 XT at this, but that's bad for Nvidia, and PC hardware will get more expensive. Alright, so let's get to it. Starting things off, AMD's custom RX 6000 card launch was an absolute fail. If you saw the stream, which I'll have linked up in the corner, you know that the cards sold out before I could even see them. You literally had to search XFX RX 6800 XT and it was still sold out. I mean, it's unbelievable. Then the cards were there for 1 minute, then they were gone, then a ton of people in chat were saying that they had purchased one and are already getting cancellations. We also saw from a Dutch retailer that they basically got zero stock. It's unbelievable. Let's just say, if you saw the stream, you know that I mentioned a $10 wager, saying that Frank Azor definitely owes this person $10. Well, this is what I'm talking about. They actually said $10 says AMD will be a paper launch too, referencing to Nvidia. Well, it said, I look forward to taking your $10. The implications are obviously there, and Frank Azor lost. Not only was it as bad as Nvidia's, it was worse. AMD did a terrible job on this launch. With that said, if you saw my stream, I will say that the Red Devil RX 6800 XT performed extremely well. I was able to overclock it much higher than the reference design, but of course that's kind of irrelevant if you can't purchase it. With that said, we're already looking at RTX 3000 cards on mobile. In this exclusive by WCCF Tech, you can see that they shared a roadmap from Nvidia for the RTX 3080, 3070 and 3060 cards, apparently set to come in mobile devices in the first half of 2021. Specifically, the 3080 and 3070 set to come in January, though I will quickly say that according to WCCF Tech, the GPUs in January will only be available in ASUS and MSI laptops. Moving on, I actually have some good news in that Black Friday is right around the corner. It's that one time of year where you can actually get some really good deals. And thanks to the thing that shall not be named, a lot of the deals are happening early. Now, before I begin, links to all of these will be in the description, so definitely make sure to check those out. They are affiliate links, so they don't cost you anything more, but it does help the channel. Anyway, starting things off, we have the Ryzen 9 3900X. The 12-core, 24-thread CPU is currently $60 off. Now, with the fact that this is the last gen, you would think that this would just be a normal price, but because basically no one can buy a Ryzen 5000 CPU right now, it really is effectively current gen, or at least it feels that way. If you're not feeling AMD, Intel does have the new i9 10850KA at Newegg for a good bit off, making it $469.99, though of course that is still fairly expensive. For a good bit cheaper, you can get the 9700K at Amazon for just $259.99, so that is $150 off, definitely not bad. Next, we have the 9900K, which is on sale on Newegg, but it's not as cheap as the 9900K at Micro Center for just $300. Moving on, for right around the same price, you can get the 3700X, which is definitely a great processor for things like compute and professional workloads. It is now $294.99. But of course, if you want 8 cores and you don't feel like shelling out that much money, you can get the 1700 for just $159.99. That's flat unbelievable when you think of the fact that when the 1700 came out, 8-core processors at the time were over $1,000. Moving on to storage, we have Samsung's 860 EVO 500GB for only $53.99. Next, if you need more storage, they have 1TB for $50 off, making it $99.99. Of course, if you need something faster, and this is actually the one that I would much more suggest, they have the 500GB 970 EVO. It's an M.2 NVMe drive for only $59.99, so it's very close, just a few dollars more than the 500 gigabyte SATA drive. So definitely a good deal there. Then we have the 2 terabyte 970 EVO Plus M.2 NVMe for $250 off. If you need a lot of storage and you want a fast SSD, this is definitely a good deal. Moving on, if you need something that's still quite fast but don't want to spend as much for Samsung's, the Intel 665p 1 terabyte is $82.99. Now, with that said, this is one of those ones that you don't want to fill up because it can massively slow things down. Just keep that in mind. Next up, if you're needing a B550 board to eventually one day in the future get a Ryzen 5000 CPU, MSI's B550 Tomahawk is right now a little off, making it $149.99. Next, we have the Gigabyte Z490 if you're looking for an Intel board for a bit off, making it $189.99. And if you're looking for a 4K monitor, this is quite possibly the cheapest one that you will probably find anywhere. The Acer 4K 28-inch for $279.99. Then if you want a decent deal on some headsets, the Logitech G432 is $40 off, making it just $40. And lastly, we have the mouse that I am currently using. I don't even think you're able to see that. It won't let me extend completely because I have it going in the desk. Either way, it's the G502. It's $40 off, so it's 50% off right now, making it $40. And with all of those, like I said, I'll have links in the description. They're affiliate links, don't cost you anything more, but it definitely helps the channel out. Next up for today, we have some of the first third-party gaming benchmarks for the RTX 3060 Ti. Now, as you can see, this is Ashes of the Singularity, and personally, I'd say it does just about as good as you would expect. It's a good bit under the 3070, definitely under the 6800 and 6800 XT. With that said, it does a whole lot better in one thing. That is, specifically, mining Ethereum. You can see right here, this is the Chip forum, and you can see that this is a kind of an unbranded 3060 Ti, but when we look down here, we have a hash rate, pretty much 61 megahashes per second across the board, and we can see that it was actually done at 60% power at 120 watts. And the reason this is actually so important is because when we look, Bitcoin is skyrocketing. Now, before you say it, yes, I understand Bitcoin mining with regular GPUs hasn't been done for a really long time. They use ASICs, absolutely. But what I more or less assume people understood is that because Bitcoin is the main one, as it goes up, all the others go up as well. Now, there are little bits of deviations here and there, but as you can see, the last, 3 months right here, it has nearly doubled. And when we go back to Bitcoin, we can actually see that it is very much nearing its all-time high back in 2018. Or I believe it was the end of 2017? Yeah, it was the end of 2017 that it ultimately happened, and it's getting really close to 20,000. So that is pretty scary. People may start jumping back into this. We may start seeing huge prices. And really quickly, I will say my point of that. So the 3060 Ti does really well, actually. When we compare it to, let me find it, the 3070, you can actually see that 70% of the power limit, which is higher, it only gets 60.5 megahashes. So according to this, the 3060 Ti is actually doing better than the 3070. And of course, there were earlier reports, let me find it, that the 6800 was a cryptocurrency mining monster, but that ultimately ended up being untrue. As you can see, it gets around 63 to 66 megahashes per second. Well, this is actually the 6800 XT. It gets around that at 170 watts. So just for a few hashes less, the 3060 Ti does it at much less wattage. So this is clearly a very good mining card. And that's definitely bad for Nvidia, or not necessarily bad for Nvidia, but definitely bad for the gamers hoping to buy an Nvidia RTX 3060 Ti. And of course, it really is important to stress that this is a fairly big difference between this and the 6800 XT, to the point of where you could just about definitively say that it's going to be better than the 6900 XT. Now, while this is bad news for those gamers hoping to get an Nvidia card, I have bad news for basically all gamers. As you can see right here, wafer prices are rising up drastically. Now, this specifically references 8-inch wafers, which are more or less the smaller 200mm wafers, but at the same time, this actually looks to be a price rise that's happening across the semiconductor industry, with TSMC actually planning to implement a 20% pay hike for its personnel, which will likely lead to more expensive products. Though of course, in a way, this is certainly a good thing, because it does look like this is happening because labor costs are increasing and that they're paying their workers more money. So I mean, that ultimately is a good thing, but it also sucks for anyone hoping to buy a processor, especially since 2020 has been so bad. Basically, it looks like 2021 could be even worse. Anyway, while that does it for today, I do know that I did a ton of rambling in this video, and I do apologize for anyone who really doesn't like that. Either way, like I said, I should be back on my normal schedule fairly soon, but if you did like the video, definitely give it a thumbs up, and let me know what your favorite deal is down in the comments below. And as always, have a great day.